This is a winter weather alert from the Arkansas Storm Team.
You're taking a live look right now from downtown Little Rock. It is February 2nd, 3:50 p.m. We're just a few hours away from numerous ice and winter storm warnings going officially into effect here in the natural state. Meteorologist Hayden Nix, the Arkansas Storm Team, tracking it all for us. And Hayden, there's a lot to get here too, because a lot of new information since we last talked yesterday. We now have that ice storm over there in eastern Arkansas, and some new weather information as well that you're analyzing, things that you're still going through at this hour.
That's right. And I do want to emphasize something here. So if you look at our map, we have got every county highlighted under either a winter weather advisor, which is around 5 counties in far southeast, southwest Arkansas, a winter storm warning, all the counties that you see in white, and an ice storm warning. But there's a difference between a winter storm warning and an ice storm warning. An ice storm warning is only factoring in freezing rain, but the winter storm warning highlights the possibility of freezing rain, including the possibility of sleet and snow. So it's a combination factor of frozen precipitation. So I just want people to be mindful of that, and also including with what we have been watching closely with the latest specifics with what we're expecting to see play out with precipitation. And always, as what is expected with Arkansas weather, we're trying to throw the entire kitchen sink at this, because we're not seeing just snow, we're not seeing just sleet, and we're not seeing just freezing rain. All of this is going to be happening and transitioning to different precipitation types over the next 24 hours, which makes for a slightly complicated forecast. And yes, I'm being sarcastic with that, but it's definitely one where we have been, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan and I have been talking for the last almost 30 to 45 minutes when we first got in, just kind of going over with the latest data, what we're seeing. And our forecast is still holding fairly solid. There's only been just some southward adjustments to where that highest corridor of freezing rain could take place. And then we've added one more color contour to help separate and highlight a more detailed area where additional sleet information is being added. But outside of that, things have still held pretty nicely with what we've been thinking here. But now we're within 24 hours of the event. Some of those minute details are really starting to show up, and that's what's crucial to getting some of that finished up. Just like trying to finish a painting, you've got those finishing touches you need to work on. But this is currently with satellite radar imagery. You could tell there, as that kind of pauses for a moment, we've got temperatures already dropping down into the mid 30s, pretty much along and north of Interstate 40. From Searcy, Batesville, Clinton, it's still 40 degrees in Little Rock, but down into the 20s in northwestern Arkansas. And there's a big axis of moisture already starting to cover areas of central Oklahoma into northeast Texas, and that is coming our way as we continue to watch this move along through the remainder of tonight and through tomorrow. Still, tonight through tomorrow is the window we're looking at where we'll have the moisture and the cold working together in concert with one another and providing for the accumulation that we're expecting to see. And I'll show you that map in just a minute here. But that blue line, once again, I want to remind you, represents the freezing line. Anything to the north is above it, anything to the south is below it. And I think it's got a pretty good grasp on showing how it will continue to descend southward. And we're going to see that transition to near freezing temperatures around midnight in central Arkansas, maybe possibly just before midnight, but either way, our moisture really doesn't start moving in until around that same time frame as well. So we get to past midnight. You can see here that our freezing temperatures are still kind of hovering across the north half of the state. So while there is some pink showing across areas of South Arkansas, I think this is still just going to be rain, folks, until we can get those temperatures colder, which won't take place till closer to sunrise. And at this point, that's when we start to see some of that ice accumulation being possible for areas in south central Arkansas. And even as we go throughout the day, temperatures are not going to improve much. So as moisture continues to spill over, we are going to see, though, an eventual transition to maybe some sleet at this point for areas of central and northeastern Arkansas. Still looking at the possibility of some freezing rain across the row of counties right there along that blue line by the mid-morning hours of Thursday, and then all snow for the northwest quarter of the state, because the layer of cold air is now deep enough to where that warm layer of air just above it has eroded away, and it's all cold and cold enough to maintain and help get snow to the surface for where it's being made. several thousand feet up, close to 18, 20,000 feet. So as we move towards noontime Thursday, this is where we transition to moisture starting to become less and less. It's not zero, but not an onslaught. So the axis of heaviest precipitation starts to take place past midnight tonight, lasting through at least the mid-morning hours. We start to see it fading away late morning, and then definitely starting to taper off by the afternoon, and then going into the evening hours. The only thing that may be left is a little bit of snow that tries to scoot across areas of northern Arkansas. And then we have to battle with the clouds on Friday. So improvement is going to be very little, if any, on Friday. We won't really start to see enough sunshine coming into play until Saturday. Roads will improve slowly first, but if you've got freezing rain, that density with ice, it makes it harder to melt, even with full sunshine. So it may take some time for that to improve by several hours or even by Sunday. So the biggest issue we're going to have here is the roadways are going to deteriorate once the temperatures drop. Worst case scenario, this is what we're looking at as far as our ice accumulation goes. I would really like to see that cold air get deep enough in central Arkansas that we have it quickly transition over to sleet, and it undercuts some of the freezing rain accumulations. But Little Rock, unfortunately, is just right on the edge of where it's going to be bouncing back and forth from that possibility of being freezing rain to briefly sleet, then back to freezing rain, until we can get it cold enough by mid-morning Thursday to become all sleet. So this is the newest contour, and I just want to go over this map closely and carefully with you here. So we haven't changed this that much at all. We've just now transitioned, now that we're going into tonight. This is sleet and snow with 4 inches plus. And now we have seen some data suggesting 8-9 inches possible, especially in the higher elevations. But because we're looking at the minimum value here, that's the lowest, and then anything from there upward is possible for this area that's highlighted in that light blue color. This is the new contour that we've added here. That orange area represents sleet accumulation of 1 inch or higher. So it takes the minimum that we're seeing notated with our data and does include some higher values that may be possible across areas of northeastern Arkansas. So basically from Greenbrier, Conway, if I can get this to draw, it may not draw for me. Let me see if I can get it one more time. All right, well, it looks like I might have an issue getting that to draw. But either way, we're looking at areas from Conway northeastward up through Searcy and Jonesboro, where we could have a couple inches of sleet, and then snow. There might be about a 1/2 inch, but not a lot. Again, I'm talking about the main impacts. There may be some snow in Little Rock, but that's going to be a moot point compared to what would be the primary accumulation type. So at this point, we're looking at Little Rock being right on the edge there. Freezing rain in the area in pink here, 1/2 inch, or excuse me, 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch ice. Sleet and snow will be what ends the precip as it all exits. But in the white dash line, we have shifted it south based on the latest here with where the cold air is located and where it's going to be shallow enough to be all rain when it falls. But when it gets into that below freezing or sub-freezing layer right at the surface, it's going to be shallow enough to produce that freezing rain setup. And we could see ice accumulation of a 1/2 inch to 1 inch being possible as far west as Hot Springs to near Arkadelphia, eastward towards Fordyce, North Cleveland County, Lincoln County, into Stuttgart and Arkansas County, Pine Bluff included with this, all the way along Interstate 40 up towards Memphis. And then we've lowered our green area, which is going to be primarily rain for the entirety of the event. Not until late Thursday night could we see this transition over briefly to sleet and snow before it's all said and done, but accumulations are going to be negligible and have minimal impact because temperatures are expected to hover pretty close to freezing or just above it. We're only talking about, Mitch, a change of 1 or 2 degrees here, and it can make all the difference. 32 in Little Rock versus 30 degrees in Little Rock, that can mean a lot more and more problems. So people need to be prepared for starting tomorrow. So tonight we have the temperature starting to drop cold enough past midnight to where roads begin to deteriorate, but they won't be at their worst till probably around sunrise. So just be mindful that road impacts are going to be expected. Power outages also likely as well. As we finish this up, Friday cloud cover is going to hang around, so that's going to be a problem to see improvements immediately the next day. We're going to see probably until the weekend enough improvement where travel won't be an issue, but then where outages do occur, that might be a few more days until power can be restored, just given the safety of the linemen who need to get out there and have to assess the damage as well. So just be prepared for that as we move along for the next couple of days here.
Yeah, a lot to process here. Hayden Nix as we're looking live here at the downtown Simmons Bank camera there on top of the building there, and just watching and trying to get an idea of this. It sounds like this is still changing as we go into the night. And a lot more information still to process here. I want to let you go because I know there's a lot of things you got to get ready for in terms of our newscasts, but appreciate your time. Arkansas Storm Team meteorologist Hayden Nix there in the Weather Center as he just processed and went through all of this brand new information that they are continuing to analyze, and the entire team is going to be on this, looking at this new information, analyzing it as it comes in. You can see even tweaks as we're just a few hours away from some of the storm really starting to make an impact here in Arkansas. But again, looking at this, I want to also remind you that we have much more on all of this. We're going to continue to provide updates through our app and other mobile devices. But before I let you go, I want to make sure that you know, and this is coming from the National Weather Service, freezing rain is the worst. I mean, it does not get any worse than freezing rain. It is incredibly difficult to travel on, and it is just downright dangerous. So if you can, stay off the road as we start to really inch towards the evening hours, because it is going to be incredibly difficult. RDOT asking everyone to stay off the roads beginning tonight into tomorrow, into Friday morning. It is just going to be dangerous. So tonight into tomorrow, you are asked to stay off the roads because it is going to be dangerous, and really allow the crews to do their job. And I think that is one of the biggest things that we can do as a state is allow these individuals who we try and get them to clear the roads as quickly as possible. We try to have them go through and clear them off. Let's give them the space to do so over the next couple of hours, and just make sure that we are really in this together. And when you go into that mindset, things may just seem a little bit easier knowing that everybody is working together. We will have much more on all of this coming up right now on KARK4 News at 4. We have KARK4 News at 5 as well. Of course, Fox 16 News at 5:30. Our continuing coverage begins on television right now. And keep in mind, our websites, KARK.com, Fox16.com. Download our mobile phone apps. Power outages is going to be a significant concern over the next several days here. So that'll be the best way to get updates in real time directly from us straight to you is through our mobile phone apps. And then, of course, follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Again, continuing live coverage right now on KARK4 News at 4 and then Fox 16 News at 5:30 as well. For now, I'm Mitch McCoy. This has been a special report from KARK4 and Fox 16.